Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10 and support the channel at the same time. It is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to week 2 of official Unstable previews. And we got some good cards to look at today, as you can see from the screen here. Phoebe, head of S.N.E.A.K, is actually really sweet. Whole lot of other good ones too. So I want to get right into it, just jump right in and see what we got so far today. Chivalrous Chevalier. This one costs a white and 4. It's an artifact creature, Cyborg Knight, a common, a 3/3 with flying. When this enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand unless you compliment an opponent. Well, that's very nice. Okay, so the card itself, is a little lackluster considering the power level of the set, because you're getting a 3/3 flyer for 5. Now, you don't have to compliment your opponent, but let's face it, Magic players, we love value. We're going to compliment our opponents, no matter what we think of them, to make sure we don't have to bounce a creature. Now, with that being said, sometimes it will make sense to bounce a creature. There might be a good enters the battlefield effect on a creature or something like that. You could bounce it back to your hand, and there's actually some strategy behind that. But a lot of the times, it will be a drawback, and you're going to choose not to do that, and just give the compliment. It just makes the game much nicer. So beyond that, what you're going to see from this creature is it's also an artifact creature. So there's going to be times where that's relevant. So here's my thought. I probably skip this a lot of times, like in Draft and Sealed, unless I feel that I really need an artifact creature or just really need something in the air, because I don't really like the idea of paying 5 for a 3/3 flyer typically, but there are times that will be fine, I'm sure. Gimme 5. This costs 1 white. It's an instant uncommon. You gain 1 life for each person who high-fives you in the next 30 seconds. Each player in a silver-bordered game who high-fives you gains 1 life. And I like the reminder text here. Offer high-fives, don't hit people. You know it's a good Magic card when the reminder text tells you not to hit people. So, there you go. Just more fun, sort of random, unstable stuff going on here. I'm usually not a big fan of just life gain cards for the sake of life gain, because I don't really think they advance your board state, so on and so forth. But again, that's not what this is about. This is about just having a good time, having fun, and if you play this at your local game store, it could be some good times. So, yeah, that's what it's all about. Just don't hit anybody. Masterful Ninja. This one's pretty sweet. I'm a big fan of these sneak cards that we're looking at today. I'm a fan of Demir anyway, so I'm really into these. But this one's a black and 2. It's a Troll Ninja rare 1/1 with haste. Reveal Masterful Ninja from your hand. Masterful Ninja is on the battlefield and in your hand until end of turn. Pay a black and 1. It will get +1/+1 till end of turn. Okay. So this is a little 1/1 that can be pumped, but what makes this card so unique is the way it bends the rules. That I can reveal it, and if I reveal it, not only is it still in my hand, but it also exists on the battlefield at the same time, making it very hard to deal with. So there's a lot of ways you can look at this. You can use it as a blocker, and it's kind of a surprise blocker, and your opponent attacks in with something. If you have open mana especially, this could be really good to just block something with and deal with it. Or even if you don't, just chump blocking over and over and over again could keep a big creature off your back perhaps. Now maybe when you're on the offensive, it's not quite as good because it is only a 1/1. It does take some mana to pump that up. It doesn't have any kind of evasion or anything. But it still could be a pretty critical creature later in the game if your opponent can't deal with it, and that's what makes this so unique. It's just hard to deal with. Your opponent can deal with the creature on the battlefield, but that's not good enough because it's still in your hand and still can come back. So they have to get it out of your hand. They have to make you discard it or something along those lines. So that's pretty cool. Last thing I want to say about it is the art is awesome. It's also the background art of the video today. And Wizards is kind of trolling us a little bit, saying, hey, look for the ninja in the art. And obviously we can't find the ninja because the ninja is just that masterful. And it's a troll ninja because they're trolling us with the arts. Yeah, that's awesome. So, fantastic job. Awesome design. I love the joke behind the card. I love the art. Just really cool. Sly Spy. This costs a black and 2. It's a human spy. Uncommon 2/2. When this deals combat damage to a player, that player reveals his or her hand. You choose a card from it with the longest name. That player discards that card. Okay, so this is something that doesn't feel like way too off for something you could see maybe in a standard set, kind of, sort of, right? Like, I would say this probably would cost like 2 black and 2. It'd be a 2/2. And then if it touched an opponent, then they would have to maybe discard a card of their choice or something like that. Feels like something you'd see. This has a untwist to it, of course, and yeah, you go ahead and hit them for 2. Now you get to see their hand, and they have to discard not something at random necessarily, but also not something of their choice either. A card with the longest name. And if you can get damage across more than one time per game, that actually will take its toll over time on your opponent. So really cool idea. I mean, this is one of the ways I guess you can get Masterful Ninja out of an opponent's hand if you had to. Hot fix. Okay, this one's pretty sweet. Blue, white 4, sorcery, rare. You have 10 seconds to look and rearrange the cards in your library. At the end of those 10 seconds, if you're touching one or more of those cards, shuffle your library. Okay, here's the way I'm thinking about this card. It costs 6. It's not cheap. I mean, it's taking up a lot of your resources to use it. You're going to go ahead and look at your library. You only have 10 seconds. So let's say your opponent's timing you or something like that. I don't think it's going to be difficult to put your deck down within 10 seconds. Like, you'll know, okay, I'm at 8, 9 seconds. I got to put my deck down. What's difficult, though, is arranging the cards. Like, how far are you going to get in 10 seconds? Like, you can't think you're going to arrange, like, your next 4 or 5 turns, like, perfectly, right? Like, you're kind of just looking for one card to put on top, probably, in 10 seconds. Like, basically using this like a vampiric tutor in a way. Now, how many times you tutor for something, and the card's, like, right at the bottom of your deck, and it's like, cool, you found it. Maybe you could even grab a second card if that's the case. But then how many times you tutor that, like, you go through your deck, and you're like, you didn't see the card you're looking for, and you end up, like, going through your deck again. Like, if that happens to you, you're out of luck. You just have to pick something else quickly, or you just kind of wasted this ability totally. And it's 6 mana, so that's a lot of resources. So I just think it's a really cool idea. It just seems like it could be really fun to play. Phoebe, Head of S.N.E.A.K. This is our first legendary creature from the S.N.E.A.K faction today. This is going to be a black, blue, and 1 legendary creature, human spy, mythic 2/3. Phoebe, Head of S.N.E.A.K. can't be blocked by creatures with flavor text. Okay, fair enough. But then you go further than that. A black, a blue, and 2. Phoebe permanently steals target creature's text box. That creature loses all rules text, flavor text, and watermarks. This creature gains them. Okay, this is really awesome. Okay, look at it this way. 2, 3 for 3, and then when you're able to spend the 4 mana on something, not only do you steal the rules text, so you get those abilities that are attached to that creature and what have you, but also taking the flavor text means that that creature can no longer block this card anymore. As time goes on, that can be backbreaking if your opponent can't deal with it. This card feels, again, like it wants to be a silver-bordered commander. So if you do play any sort of silver-bordered variant of commander with friends or something like that, this card feels like it would be a ton of fun in a format like that. And even just in Draft and Seal, this card just feels like it would be a ton of fun. Really looking forward to playing with this one. X. Okay, another legendary creature from S.N.E.A.K. This one is a black and blue legendary creature, human spy, rare 2/2. All right, get ready for some rules text here. As long as X is in X's owner's opponent's hand, X's owner may cast X and activate X's abilities. That opponent can't cast X and plays with his or her hand revealed. Now the abilities on the card are black and blue, tap, put X into target opponent's hand. Black, blue, and 3. You may play a card in the same hand as X without paying its mana cost. Okay, so a little 2/2 creature for 2, but a lot going on here. Alright, so where do I begin? I read this rules text a number of times, and I'm going to give you my theory on how this works, and I'm sure more clarity will come. I'm sure Mark Rosewater will definitely clarify this card before the set comes out, but as of right now, me reading this text, this is what I think. The first thing I thought of was, well, could I actually pay the blue, black, and 3 when this is in my hand to just put something out cheaper? I don't think it works that way. Here's why. It says, as long as X is in X's owner's opponent's hand, then you can use the abilities. So if it's in your hand, there's nothing that says that those abilities are usable. There's no part of the card that tells you can do that. Of course, you can use abilities when it's on the battlefield, which is why that first ability is relevant to get into your opponent's hand. But I don't think you can use that second ability when it's in your hand. I think it has to be in the opponent's hand. That's the way I read it anyway. I'm sure, again, thereul be more clarity on that. That feels like it would be real powerful if you could just draw this card and then start throwing down like 10, 12 casting cost creatures, right? Like that doesn't seem like that's probably what's intended to do. So once you do get into your opponent's hand, which I mean takes a little finesse, got to pay 2, cast it, you got to untap with this thing, you got to pay 2 more, tap it. Now it's in the opponent's hand. Now you can start to think about actually finding the true utility of this card. Now, maybe your opponent has a way to discard a card on their own or something like that, and they can get rid of it. But as long as you can stay ahead of your opponent on resources, you can kind of cut off their plays in advance, because you can actually do this anytime. It doesn't say it has to be at a certain time. So you can do it on the draw step, their untap step, anytime you have priority, it sounds like. So it's a very powerful card once you get it in your opponent's hands, and it could actually take over a game relatively quickly, as long as you have the mana to pour into it, and you're not falling behind on board state to begin with. So, yeah, pretty crazy card. Another really cool legendary S.N.E.A.K. creature. Cog Mentor. This costs 1. It's an artifact creature, gnome rigger. It's uncommon. It's flying. It's a 1/1. You can pay 4. Reassemble target contraption you control, which means move it onto another one of your sprockets. So this is the first card we've seen so far that allows you to move one of your contraptions to another sprocket, which is actually a pretty powerful effect if you have the mana again. Because imagine you have a good contraption, and we've already seen some good ones, there's a lot more to go, but you have a really good effect that you want to use. Instead of getting it every 3 turns, in theory, if you pay 4 mana, you can get it every turn. And that could be really good for you. If you have 8 mana, you can move 2 things and get them every turn. So that's actually pretty awesome. It's fragile. I mean, your opponent will be gunning for this thing. It's a 1/1 flyer, and yeah, it will die to probably a lot of stuff. But at the same time, it's also an artifact creature, which is very relevant to other things that are going on, other strategies in the particular set. So yeah, really cool card here. Next is Handy Dandy Clone Machine. This was revealed by MTG Young Mage, who does awesome reveal videos. If you've never seen him, check him out. Costs 3. It's an artifact, rare. Pay 2, tap. Create a 2/2 colorless, homunculus creature token. It must be represented by a unique hand and 2 fingers at all times, or it ceases to exist. So I think what they're going for, if you look at the art, it kind of looks like your hand if you're making your fingers walk. I think that's what you have to do to represent the token. So that makes things relatively difficult, right? It's just a 2/2, but like you have to tie up one of your hands to have it in play. Now, you can't really put a second one into play because then you can't really hold your cards or play Magic anymore. I guess you could do it as a defensive move. If your opponent's attacking in, you could make the token and then block with it and let it die, or just block with it, and even if it doesn't die, it will die when you start picking up your cards again and playing Magic. So, I don't know, maybe, am I thinking way too much in this? I think I totally am, right? Like, this is just a silly card, and I'm like thinking about it like we're playing it on the Pro Tour, but, it just kind of cracks me up. I'm just trying to find all these weird ways to kind of break these cards. Another thing you could do, because it doesn't say you couldn't, is you could have a friend actually represent the tokens for you, or play Magic for you while you represent the tokens. So that's kind of funny too. Yeah, I don't know how great this card will be, just because it does require seemingly a lot of setup for a little payoff with maybe 1 or 2 tokens. But is it really fun and cool? Yeah, it's awesome. So the card's super entertaining, if nothing else. And like I said, I'm thinking way too much into this. Just have fun with it. All right, with that being said, those are the cards for today. Now, a few less than we've been seeing when it came to like the cards last week. So I don't know if we're going to get a bunch tonight or something like that. I mean, if we get a lot of significant cards tonight, I'll do another video. But if we only get a few over the next 24 hours, we'll do a video tomorrow, and I'll just encapsulate everything from now to then, as we typically do. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.